Hey everyone, if you're new here, I'm Allen with Earthglow, and this channel is all about sharing the joy of candle making. So in today's video, I thought I would start a new series called Sip and Chat, and today's video would be episode 1 of that series, and as the title suggests, it's gonna be kind of laid back. I'm actually drinking a lavender latte here, and it's a beautiful summer day outside. I just went for a walk. Today's kind of like my wannabe day off, but you all know, being self-employed, it's kind of difficult. You have to be very intentional about it. Anyways, in today's video, I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about wood and wicks. And I don't have anything prepared for this video. I just kind of wanted to talk candidly about wood and wicks and my experience with them, and whether or not I still use them in my own candle line. So if you're new, consider subscribing, and let's get right into today's video. All right, so some of you may know this, some of you may not know this, but I actually started my candle line with wooden wicks, and I'll link my video above. Actually, my how I formulated my wax video kind of links to that as well. I had started with wooden wicks, and I'll give you the short version. Basically, they were just not going well. I was trying to use pure beeswax, and that was having issues, and the wicks were not staying lit. Then I added coconut oil to it, and I don't think I was getting my wooden wicks from candlesandSupplies.com, which, nothing wrong with that, great company. I love their fragrance oils, but like their wooden wicks, they're not really known for those. And it can be hard when you purchase from companies where you don't know what size wooden wicks they actually have. And so things definitely got better in some respects when I started purchasing the wood wicks from Makesy, which was then called the wooden wick. This was about five and a half years back when I first started making candles. And so yeah, things got a little bit better, and I was making some candles that were better quality. They were definitely staying lit better. I would say that they weren't high quality candles. They were definitely getting too hot. I was using like the little glass jelly jars. If any of you guys are familiar with those, I'll try to put a picture on the screen of the ones that I used, my very first candle jars. And I used to like tie a little vine around the top, which like, I don't know, it was kind of funny. But anyway, I also would put like little bits of dried flowers on them, which I ended up kind of, entirely not doing anymore, and I'll talk more about that later, I think, depending on how this video goes. Like I said, it's just kind of candid. I'm not preparing like a script or anything for it, but yeah, so I started off there, and then the wood wicks that I was doing, they were going better when I was getting the wood wicks from Makesy, because of the fact that I could tell more about the thickness and the width and everything. And so I was really like, I feel in my own head, I was really attached to them much more so than the cotton wicks, just because I wanted something that was really unique. And I liked the shape of the wick. I liked the shape of the flame. I liked how they crackle when they burn. And basically just, it was a really unique product. Oh, and I was also wanting to use like the 3-inch diameter vessels, and I felt like, and to this day, I would say that those are definitely easier for wood wicks, even though they're harder for like the cotton wicks. So anyways, then I started getting away from pure beeswax, and again, definitely watch my video on how I formulated my own wax blend. But I would say that beeswax with the wooden wicks, you might be able to get away with it if you use the 0.04 series and you blend it with some coconut oil or something, because that beeswax alone is just a nightmare, honestly. Like, I wanted it to work so bad, but it just cracks, it gets too hot. You know, that's why it's not used in container candles very often. It's used in like pillar candles where there's no jar. So anyways, throughout my candle making journey, I would say that I have been so dedicated to wanting wooden wicks to work. And I would say if you're starting out and you're someone who you really need to get good profit margins, you really need to, well, I mean, wood wicks can be good for good profit margins, right? It's a really unique product, and it will draw its own market for that reason. However, if you want like a quality candle in terms of consistency, which I think is really part of what makes a quality candle, having a candle that from one to the next is really consistent, I would stay away from wood wicks, in all honesty with you. I would just pick a cotton wick series that you like. I tend to prefer the CDNs, but a lot of people like different ones, and just for varying reasons. But I would just do that because you're gonna have a much easier time getting a really consistent candle. Now, if you want the wooden wicks to work, I think the biggest challenge, even buying them like from Makesy that I've had, is they're so different from batch to batch. Like, honest to God, they're so different from batch to batch and from fragrance to fragrance. Like, cotton wicks can vary from fragrance to fragrance a little bit, but it doesn't hold a candle, no pun intended. It doesn't hold a candle to the variation that you get with wood wicks. So there's that component. And yeah, just how the series are so different from batch to batch. Like, I remember like getting the .04 series. I would say that series tends to be the most consistent, but even within that, they're so inconsistent. And I would also say that buying them from Makesy helps because you know where you're getting the product from in terms of like a measurable scale of the sizes, because a lot of companies will, maybe they're selling the same product, but they'll have like different ways of like noting the different sizes, and it can be hard to find something that's more universal from supplier to supplier, especially if that one supplier that you purchase from goes out of business or something. It'll be very hard to know what size wick to get. So yeah, I guess that what I would say is my wax blend that I formulated is the most consistent that I've ever been able to get a wooden wick to perform. And I'm not saying that to brag about my own wax blend. It definitely has its cons as well. And the biggest con, I would say, is that it does only perform well with certain fragrances, and within that, some of those fragrances may not throw very well, and you don't know what any of that is going to amount to until you actually like try all these different combinations of things, and then it can change quite a bit over time, because when you're dealing with something like beeswax, and my blend has quite a bit, close to 20%, the blend that I use with the wooden wicks, it can just be really challenging to get a product that, if you want that versatility. I have maybe 6 or 7 scents that are just really, I've got like kind of dialed in, so to speak. Like if you make coffee like I like to do, and you know when you're like grinding your own espresso, how you kind of have to dial in that grind. It's very much like that when you're making candles, especially with the wooden wicks. So yeah, I guess in short, do I still use them? Yes, I do. And I think that they could be really great for like those diameter jars that are kind of in between sizes with cotton wicks, where you're in between single wicking and double wicking, or you're in between maybe two different size wicks. Sometimes using a larger wooden wick can just kind of bridge that gap. But they definitely have their cons, and I think what I would recommend if you want to try to make them work is to get like, I literally have Excel spreadsheets for them where I go through and I have various testing phases that go out from like 2 weeks to 4 weeks to several months. And I hope I don't have foam all over my lips. I've never had a latte, I don't think, when I'm filming. But anyways, yeah, I think that if you want to make it work, you need to start really small. And I mean like figuring out one fragrance or one blend that's going to work well. And in all honesty, I could not tell you what that is. I have a lot of my blends available to my patrons that I use for Earthglow's candles with my own wax blend in the wooden wicks. So I'll have that account linked for you guys below as well if you want to check out what I do for my company. But the other component to it as well is mica. And I haven't really done a video talking about it. I've had a lot of people ask me questions like, why do you use that on your candles? Or everyone tells me not to use that. I had someone say recently. And mica can be, it for me, is really instrumental with my wax blend, and some of the fragrances that I use that work well with the wooden wicks, but not quite well enough. Like maybe the flame gets just a little bit out of hand. And so adding on just a little bit of mica can be helpful. At least it is with my wax blend and the .04 series wicks and the fragrances that I use. And even within that, I have different versions of the amount of mica that I use on my candles as well. Like some I'll have in my Excel spreadsheet take high mica, some take medium, some take light. And I try not to get too carried away because it can be hard when you're putting that on to ensure consistency. So if you have too many different levels, it can kind of be hard to keep it all straight. But anyways, that's my little talk on wood wicks. I will tell you guys though that so many customers, I was making them in the tins for a while for the farmers markets, and I've actually pulled those entirely because I felt like they weren't quite meeting my standards of stringency with consistency. And I've actually found that the tins in general are really, really hard, those 3-inch diameter tins, to use wood wicks in entirely. So I haven't really, in my opinion, found any successful ways to work around that. I did even try to like formulate a wax blend for those, but then I ended up kind of pulling that as well. And I use that wax blend, but I don't use it for wood wick tins anymore, because in that case, they were generally working, but they weren't producing the scent throw that I wanted. So anyway, there's just so many factors, but you can get a really unique product. I would encourage you, if you're really inspired by wooden wicks, to at least have some cotton wicks in your line as well, so that you don't burn yourself out, because it can be so overwhelming with the testing. And then just when you think you have it nailed in, it just takes you right down to your knees, and you're like, I'm at square one pretty much with this. Like it can be so hard to sort out those factors. But anyways, I guess that's going to be all for this video. Let me know if you guys would enjoy this type of a series, and I will keep posting videos like this where I basically just sit back and talk about whatever the topic is for discussion, and it's just kind of a candid talk where I don't really prepare. I didn't prepare any notes or script or anything. But yeah, if you did have additional topics that you think would be fun or interesting, leave them in the comments below, and I'll definitely take those into consideration. Anyways, I'm sending all of you peace, love, and light, and I'm wishing all of you happy candle making.
I would like to take the time to thank my patrons for their incredible support. A massive shout out goes to Wendy, Nicole Rott, Nancy with All About Me Beauty Bar, Merle, Brad with Neon City Scents, Michelle, Paula, Zahara with Crystalline Candle Co., Julie with Belux Candle Co., Jennifer with Bea Essentials, Selena with Banbury Street Creations, Andrea, Sue, Nick, Bruce, Emma, Flavia, Jennifer with Bittersweet Candle Co., Danielle, Anitra with Ninth and Maxwell, Matthew, Jindy, Lisa, Elizabeth, Carol, Cheryl with Soaps by Cheryl, Maya, Losa, Luzdari, Daichi, John with Past Tense Candles, Angela, Amber, Bluegrass Path and Candle Co., Marquita with the Beat Institute, Allie, Carla, Todd with Gold Creek Candle Co., Krista, SS, Karen with River Birch Soaps, Kina with Kijoli, Angela, Amanda, Denise with Grumblegeist Candle Co., She's More, Cindy, Kim, Teresa, Frida, Shiromi, J Creative P, Colette, Nicole, Stella, Leanne, Martha, Angela, Jamie, Chadwick, Z, Mabel, Arev, Bobby, Jamie, Amy with Candle Emporium, Stephanie, Honey, Terry, Maria, Genevieve, Gracie, Yolanda, Tanya, Susan, Irene, Rolanda with Mason Marzette, Melissa, Megan, Ursulette with Ursulette's Beauty Secrets, Kelly, TCM with Ava Bryceco, Lois, Tia, Victoria with The Sacred Prayer, Valerie, Stacy with Firewick with Me, Belinda, Rhonda, Smadar, Duchess Luxury Creations, Juliet, Carla, Crystal with Indigo Scents Candle Co., Anika, Kim with Kimberly's Candle Co., Kim, Angelic, Tia, Chris, Miss S, Shakira, Tiffany, Kim, BN, Lizette, Chandra, Pat, Chickadee Company, Tara, Indigo, SJ, Gina, Emily, Sandra, Heidi, Sunday, Michelle, Lisa, Angela, Kelly, Angela, Natalie with Walters Wicks, Sherry, Cynthia, Denise, Sonia, Natasha, Elisa, Edward, Chambliss Candles and Soaps, Sabina, Raphael with Alondra's Candle Co., Desi, Kim, Abby Lane Candle Co., Christina, Tommy with Rose and Crown Soap, Tara, Joy, Katie, Diane, Kelly, Judith, Sherry, Diane, Courtney with 17 December's Candle Company, Stacy, Yvette, Teresa with All About Serenity, Janetta, Monica, Nick, Tim, Diane, and Anne. Your support is deeply appreciated.